I'm asking that you will now allow us a little bit of speed as we race through the rest of the Bible. What we'll now call the Genesis gender roles, which is those things, basically God's view of gender, as we just saw in creation, fall, curse. The Genesis gender roles are, in Genesis and the Old Testament history, this is number 8, God shows forth, through Genesis and Old Testament history, a clear patriarchal structure. For those to whom patriarchy is worse than a four-letter word, it is simply a system of society or government in which the father or eldest male is the head of the family and descendants is reckoned through the male line. Or much more simply, patriarchy just means that God's designed the world to have male rule. So in other words, Genesis throughout all the Old Testament shows a very clear patriarchal structure. God chooses Noah and his family with him. God chooses Abraham and his household and family with him. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are literally called the patriarchs. And it's not an insult. It's not a claim of toxic masculinity. They're patriarchs. They're fathers with nations beneath them. They are ruling, eminent men. The 12 tribes of Israel are named the 12 patriarchs. Israel's entire societal system was made by God from the ground up to be based on patriarchal structure. And it was awesome for women and children. Now, some people say, yeah, of course it was patriarchal. That was the norm of the day around them. I don't know what Old Testament you're reading if you come away from Leviticus, say, going, yeah, that was God's aim. Be as like the other nations as possible. He had them down to the threads they were wearing, the foods they were eating, the paths they were walking, the borders they were allowed to step over or not. He had it down to such an infinitesimal detail to make a clear distinction between the idolatrous and sinful ways that the other... He didn't even give them a king in order to show the difference. Friends, if there was ever a time when God was literally socially engineering society from the ground up, it was before Israel went into the land, and he could have given them a matriarchal, androgynous structure. And he did nothing but entirely reinforce it. Patriarchy can go poisonous, just as marriage can go poisonous, because God's cursed everything. But an abuse does not negate the right use. God kept intentionally patriarchy because it was his idea.